Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the After Hours podcast. Today I have the pleasure of having a gentleman by the name of Alon, who it's funny, going back, I don't know, 15 years or so ago, I think we met at a teen nightclub called Crazy Donkey down the road on Route 110. And, it's amazing to reconnect so many years later. Not that we're in the same business, but I'm in the lending side of the business. I know you've dabbled. You're heavily invested in real estate, and to have you on here today is a pleasure. So
Crazy Donkey.
Crazy Donkey.
Remember
man.
those days?
Now that I started talking more about it with other people, because I feel like for some reason it started to come up in conversation, I'm starting to have flashbacks of being on the wall in the Crazy Donkey. So
On the wall? What do you mean on the wall?
so there was a famous wall when you walked inside the place, I remember.
Yes, I remember.
And you would always see the guys, maybe they were our friends, they would be on the wall with their significant other, doing whatever they were doing. And, I remember all the cool celebrity guests they had there back in the day.
Snooki
Snooki,
from the Jersey Shore.
Ron Browns, I forget. There was so many different cool people that came there. And I feel like people's childhoods aren't like that nowadays. It's sad.
I don't know. I don't have kids, but and I'm not as attached to like the child world
Yeah.
as maybe when I have kids. But
I have a 2.5-year-old daughter. So
wow,
yeah.
that's awesome.
It's awesome.
No teen clubs for her.
There's no any club until she's 50 for her.
There
so
you go,
forget
perfect.
teen clubs. It's amazing. Like I just said, going back, we had so many, I feel like, experiences that are so different from how these kids grow up nowadays. It's a different world that we're in. But
Yeah. It's a hybrid, right? Like it builds character, but then again, it's like I don't know if I want my kid doing that.
yeah, because you never want to hold your kid back from doing things. I never could imagine that at 29 years old that I would have a daughter. And it's amazing because, like you just said, you never want to hold your kid back from doing certain things in life, but you also, on the same token, want to give your kid every opportunity, whatever they want. I feel like I would just want to say yes to. I don't know why I feel that way about my daughter.
That's awesome.
But you have to, of course, always, no matter who they are. I was raised with tough love. Never got handed anything.
Yeah, same here.
My father made me work for everything I have. Might have introduced me to opportunities, which I'll always, honor that. I appreciate that. But
What town did you grow up in?
so I grew up in Plainview
Okay,
with,
Plainview.
with Gabe.
Yeah,
I can't say that.
I could say it.
You can, man. And happy holiday. I know there was just a holiday.
it's
so
Sukkot. Yeah, right now.
happy
Thanks, man.
holidays. Gabe Raban, man. That's somebody we also,
Great
grew
guy.
up with. that-
Also in mortgages?
So he does. He's in the mortgage business. It's funny because a lot of my friends going back to high school, I moved to Plainview in 7th grade from Dix Hills. And in Dix Hills is where I was around the other guys, that we know growing up. Matt Lombardi, that whole crew that, that used to go to that teen club, the Crazy Donkey. And when I moved to Dix Hills or when I moved to Plainview, in 7th grade, I moved into a new school by myself, knew nobody. Always had not a cocky attitude. I was always confident. I knew I was whether it was good at sports or whatever it was in life. I wanted to be the best at that, and that hasn't changed now in business. But going back to then, I moved into a town where I knew nobody, and I got into not issues with people, but I had interactions with guys at a young age, and Gabe ended up being a part of that friend group.
Nice.
So Gabe and I actually started off on the wrong foot, but it was only within a couple of months or so that we realized that, we had a connection and we became close like that.
You're still confident, man. When I look at you, I just feel like money's like coming off of you. It's like you want money, you talk to Dean, and you got to say it with an Italian accent.
You can't forget the Italian accent. And listen, I appreciate you saying that. It's funny because I was saying before you walked in here, I feel like a lot of people in life, whenever they see somebody who's successful or somebody that's ahead of them, not ahead of them as a person, but ahead of them, in business or financially, I feel like they take that the wrong way and they talk shit to their friends. They don't want to root for that person or whatever the case may be. When I see somebody who has achieved an amazing amount of success, whether it's in business or life or no matter what it is, and that person is doing better in an avenue of life that I am, financially or in business or whatever it is, I want to be like that person.
Yeah.
I don't, look down at that person like most people do. How do I learn the qualities that that person has in their business and in their life, and how do I implement those into my day-to-day routine? So I don't care if it's an 18, 19-year-old person who has figured it out before me, and I'm 30 years old. You know, to see you accomplish what you have at such a young age, you know, is amazing, man. And
Thanks, man.
that's not the reason I wanted to have you on here, but it's amazing that seeing you have the right mindset, and that's what I preach here, is having the right mindset.
You see, you're not jealous,
You're bulletproof.
but
you know?
you're not a jealous guy. I
Can't be.
appreciate that.
can't
You're
be.
not a jealous guy, but it's easy not to be jealous when you're as handsome as this guy. Am I right? Like, holy shit! When you're a 12 out of 10, my man, like you walk in
Come
the room,
on.
everyone's like, "Oh my God, where's all this money coming from? All this good looks." And then us 7 out of 10s, you know, we get jealous sometimes.
You're 100 out of 10.
I'm
bro.
not
Stop
saying
with your
me.
7 out of 10.
I'm not saying me, you know, but a lot of us 7 out of 10s, we're like, "Damn, how do I get to a 12?"
Well, listen, to be able to sit down with somebody who understands that confidence, and when we spoke before the podcast and I had asked you some questions, you said, no, I'm doing it this. No one ever speaks that way. And I appreciate that, because it's all about confidence and knowing that, no, this is how I operate. You know, people do this all the time. I want to do things differently. Whatever it is, you know your way, and I know my way. And I'm still every day learning, always. I always like to, whether it's somebody in a different business or, you know, like, for example, I started the gym for the first time in my life 4 weeks ago. I've never,
Nice.
ever stayed consistent. And I have so many fucking friends that, you know, fitness is their whole life. And I respect that lifestyle.
You know, Asaph German called me. I know he was on your podcast.
His episode should be coming out in the next week or two.
He's a beast, great guy, love him to death. Overcharges me on legal fees. Asaph, we got to work on that, my guy. I want you to send him that clip.
That's a personal
It's
conversation.
very personal. He just charged me. I want some money back, but it's okay. He'll pay for my gym membership. He doesn't mind.
He'll do anything. He's the best. He is.
I love that guy and his team, Dina Ponzini.
Yeah.
I love that woman. I want
amazing.
Dina to see this as well. So he called me the other day. He's going to this new place. I think it's OG
OG and Lindenhurst.
training. Yeah, in Lindenhurst. And he's like,
Him and
he goes,
Tyler Frost. Don't forget Tyler.
I love Tyler. I just spoke at Eisner Amper.
Yeah.
Great place, great people, great questions. Tyler's a good man. He brought together the panel. Asaph was supposed to be there, but he was a little busy. It was pretty cool. There was like 80 accountants.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, but Asaph told me this new place, OG, is like next level. And for him to say that, I gotta try this place.
No, I've heard amazing things about it. The only thing that I realize is that you can't get a reservation for 2 years in advance, so you have to. I heard you have to look either the night before or whatever it is. But I've heard amazing things about that place. It's nice to be with a group of people, and from what I've heard from people that go there, to be with like-minded people in that environment.
That means they need to open a new location. But from a real estate perspective, what I would do if I were them,
Scale.
because they're to an extent, they're like a transient business. Like it could be going really well at one time, and then the season might fall off if it's seasonal. What I would do is, like, to hedge my risk in real estate is I would lease a space with like a short-term good guy clause. You know, like that's like a parachute. Say you got 3 months.
Right.
So in their lease, they'd negotiate like, oh, we'd pay you, the landlord, 3 months if we bail out of the space.
Got it.
And then I'd get like as a prime of a location as possible, rip it. If they're still packed out, that's awesome until that fades out. If it fades out, and if it does, then they could pay their 3 months and walk.
Right.
That's what I would do.
No, listen, and that's what's I feel like challenging about that business. I feel like other people can just at some point just get into it and just open up a location, start playing great music, bring people together, and start that kind of business. But I feel like they have a good group. There's a lot of people that go there that are very committed to whatever they have going on there. So we definitely have to get in there at some point. But back to
Go
what
to
I
the
was
same one. Let's go together.
I would love to. They all go at, I think, 6:15 in the morning, but every time I fucking look, you can't get into that class. So I'm gonna make sure I look after this tonight.
I'm going to make sure Robbie's there, and if I'm slacking for a second, it's going to be on camera, and we'll see. We'll see
do
how
it.
that turns out.
Mikey, can you give me a water bottle, bro? I'm sorry. On the middle of the podcast, I'm dying.
Don't worry. Dude, content, natural. It's all good.
That's what I realized over these last, I'd say, 3 or 4 months, is that it can't all be like what you're gonna say, what comes out. It has to be natural, like you said. And just,
Unapologetically you. Your brand is you. It's all good. We all make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes and you're perfect, people don't want to see you all the time unless you're like a Botox girl on Instagram. And we're both not hot girls, so we don't have that
I
going
am definitely
for us.
not a hot girl, and you asked me what I made when I got here, so you really don't give a fuck, and I love that, man. I love that about you. So no one's ever asked me how much I make, so that's amazing. And like I said, I realized getting into this whole podcast world and the content world, it's all about being genuine and being who you are and what flows through you. You know, let it out. And I've always had that. I don't know if it's a problem, but not really having a filter. I'm the same kind of way. You
I
know,
could
like,
tell. But you got an accent.
a little bit of an accent, some might say, but you know.
Are you married?
So I'm not married, but I have a 2.5-year-old daughter. She's the best thing in the world.
That's
like I
awesome.
said before. Her mother's fantastic, so I would never change anything. You know,
You don't live together.
we don't live together.
Got it.
I'm there as much as I can for my daughter. You know, everything I focus on in my life, everything I'm building in my life, you know, not just financially, but the foundation around my home and how I raise my daughter, you know, that's why I do it.
That's
you know,
cool.
it's not, even though it's about money, it's not just about money, you know, for me. You know, once I've had a daughter, or once I found out I was having a kid, like a spark went under my ass. You know,
Was she your girlfriend at the time?
she was, and then we got engaged. COVID happened, you know, 2 or 3 years went by. You know, whatever happened had happened, and, you know, we decided it was best that, you know, we parent separately and, you know, do what's best for our daughter.
But it's working out, so that's great.
It's working out. You know,
Cool.
I feel like that's in everybody's control, and people don't realize that. You know, especially at a young age, people ask me questions. You know, how do you deal with that? And I feel like that just comes with life. You know, you never know what's going to happen at a certain time. And just like I said, when I found out I was having a daughter or having a child, it sparked such a flame under me. I was always successful going back 3, 4, 5 years ago. You know, but as a young guy, 25, 26 years old, I found out I was having a kid. I never thought my life would be untraditional. You know, life was never, not that life is planned, but I come from an old school Italian family, the whole
Got it,
Greek
yeah.
and Italian family. You know, forget not going to college. I tried college, you know, that never worked out. Even though I got into the mortgage business and made money, my father was okay with it. You know, I come from an old school family, so being traditional was something I always envisioned. You know, the big wedding, the families at the wedding, you know, whatever it is. So once I found out I was having a child, I was like, holy fuck. I didn't know what to think, you know, but obviously we were going to have the kid. So I realized, like, holy shit, I really have to grow up a little bit.
We got to get married. Stat.
We got to get married. I have to grow
Which
up a
didn't
little bit.
happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen, but I wouldn't change anything. Like I said, I threw a big christening for my daughter. It was a wedding, you know, so she had the best time. We all had a great time. It was the first time in 20 years both of my families were in the same room because my parents are divorced. So it was amazing. It was nice to actually see that come together. You know, but going back to kind of what I was saying is it's how you operate as a parent. And at 28, 29 years old, you know, it's challenging, but you have to overcome every challenge, and you probably know that better than anybody. You know, whether it's on a deal in life, personally, losing tons of money in business, which we've all encountered, I'm sure. You know, you have to just deal with life, and
Yeah.
especially when it's a kid, there's no other option.
We make plans, God laughs.
God laughs.
You
That's
know?
right. That's right.
That's why I actually almost don't plan anything over like 2 days in advance.
And that was my problem in relationships. I'm the same way. I never make plans because if something comes up at the last second and if it's more important or if
Yeah.
there's a bigger opportunity, you have to go with that. I'm sure you can
100%.
speak on that.
My
a little.
only plans are Friday night, it's Shabbat. Saturday, I don't work, days open. That's how I do it. Jewish stuff.
They're closed on Saturdays, the barbershop, so
Perfect. That's why they're closed.
why.
You don't work on Saturdays. I stopped working like 3-4 years ago on Saturdays. Best decision I made. I used to work like 100 hours a week,
Wow.
nonstop for like, I'm not kidding, since I was a little kid.
That's amazing.
I was just ripping schoolwork.
doing what? School stuff, you said?
Anything. No, anything work related. I used to do e-commerce. I launched a beverage company, which I sold to Vital Proteins. If you guys ever heard of Vital Proteins. Yeah.
They actually just got the Journey.
Yeah, Vital Performance was one of my companies.
I was good.
Yeah, now like all the UFC, a
That's
couple
amazing.
UFC guys are sponsored.
They just got They got a sponsor from the water company that you're sponsored from.
I just got a personal sponsor from Bayer Performance Nutrition.
Bear
Bayer BPN supplements.
BPN. I don't know them.
His name's Nick Bayer. He started on YouTube like 8 years ago and just grew his personal brand. Started a supplement company and they're killing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Some of these companies they crush it, and I love business.
Yeah.
Like my passion is business. I like to learn about businesses, and then I'm just a freak. Like I ask 1,000 questions. I don't stop.
So I've seen.
Yeah, and I get into like the nitty gritty details.
Good.
Like I know the ins and outs of your business Probably more than most of
Good.
the originators that work
Amazing.
at the company.
You probably do because a lot of them don't. So.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with business.
Amazing.
And I dissect it. So the supplement industry, a majority of these supplements are white labeled through suppliers. So there's like, you know that it's probably Bear. I don't know them, but there's a ton of suppliers here on the island, gummies, powders, etc. They go to promotional product manufacturers, which they bring in. They import everything. They have the supplements that they drop in. It's pretty cool. It's like assembly line driven, and then they just wrap it. So like 10 brands could be the same. It's all marketing.
It's all marketing.
It's all
It's
marketing.
all marketing. And
You
that's,
know, Logan Paul and KSI don't own a majority of Prime. They're minority shareholders of Prime. There's some company in the Midwest that actually owns it. Somehow they got brought on. Somehow there was a relationship there. And they are doing, I mean, tremendous numbers because of the marketing that Logan and KSI bring, which is unparalleled to anybody else in the world.
of course.
But they are, they're all the soccer teams. They are pushing wild numbers, and they're not my majority owners. They did a strategic partnership with whoever this company was that understands logistics, beverages, etc. And they just pump. No, it's worth more.
Amazing.
Is it?
Way more. That branding and the numbers they're pushing, one of the big boys will gobble them up just because of how the stock will spike.
It's a great name, Happy Dad, because I'm a happy dad. So
There you go.
we should have happy dads.
It makes guys want to drink seltzers. You know what I'm saying?
true.
It's fucking genius.
It is.
Crazy stuff. I mean, business is cool.
Like you said, I love business, and it's crazy how this world has evolved so much. I feel like when I got into the business, it was smile and fucking dial. Stay at your desk, dial the phone. That's what you're gonna do, and that's
Smile and dial.
how I learned.
Haven't heard that
Listen,
in a while.
I would never change those qualities that I learned because
Key.
I have the
Key.
old school morals and values in business that you need to be successful in every market. You know, these guys that are struggling this last year and a half in a market that we've never seen. Guys I'm in the business with 30 years that are in the business, you know, before I was even born, have never seen this real estate market. So, or the interest rate environment, whatever.
When I got in the business,
whatever they
it
wanna
was
call it.
smile and dial.
Smile and die.
I was doing the same thing, cold calling aggressively, nonstop.
Exactly.
Actually, what most people don't know is I started.
With a call center or something like that, because that's my main thing. I have a call center.
I had
that-
call centers. I had all of that stuff. I've gotten away from that.
Yeah. There's so many regulations now. You have to. There's so many New York State regulations that you can't even really have a call center anymore.
Yeah.
Because you have to realize who you're reaching out to.
Being agile and having a slimmer team with higher level people is so much more fun and, in my opinion, effective than having a massive team that doesn't convert.
Big goes small, small goes big, especially in this market.
Yeah. At one point, I had over 50 people.
It's amazing.
Now I'm down to like 18.
That's like my
And I'm
team.
very happy.
Yeah, just when the market's different, not good or bad, our team has been up to 30, 40 people. And then when the market changes, we're down to 7 or 8 people. And sometimes with those 7 or 8 people, you can be more successful than having that whole big, shebang because it looks great, everybody's happy. But, what makes money is having that small, tight group that you know are going to be successful no matter what comes.
And don't get me wrong, I'm going to scale, but at this point, I'm being methodical. Like,
Right.
I've scaled back big time. At any given point, I had like
Smart.
20 to 30 deals under contract and rolling. Now I'm down to like 7, and I'm trying to bring that down to 1. So then I could step back, really focus on building a business, a conglomerate,
Yep.
and take off from there. I've done the years of just hustling aggressively.
Yeah.
I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't need it. I want to be more methodical now.
Now it's how do I scale and grow it?
Scale big. To most
Scale
people,
big,
I am
okay.
scaled.
Of course.
But in my opinion,
Hit
there's
the B. I know you got the B in mind, so
Yeah.
we all have that number, that B. Some people have to hit the 3 zeros first, the thousands, and then some hit the millions, and then billion is a fantastic goal, and that's
Yep.
an amazing number.
and I could get there through brute force
You're
in
gonna
like
get there.
7 years to 10 years. I could do it through brute force. I just don't want to do it that way.
Yeah.
I want to build something truly sustainable
Yeah.
when I step away, whenever that day comes.
Right. And like you said, small goes big, big goes small, like I just said. And during a time where there's uncertainty, you have to be smart. You got to cut things back and make sure that when things do go in a different direction, that we're ready to rock and roll, like
Yeah,
you said.
I'm always uncertain. Unlike
to be.
the maybe the realtor space or the brokerage space or the mortgage brokerage space, it's cyclical. In my business, the way I treat it is we're constantly uncertain.
Yeah.
because if you take on the wrong debt, if you take on the wrong project, that could be your demise. We're not transactional. I don't broker a deal and get paid on it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like I have to see a business plan through to the finish
You
line.
buy a property and you have that property. If the numbers aren't the way you thought, that whatever it is, that's your responsibility.
Yep.
If you're brokering a loan and there's an issue with that loan, the other person deals with it. So it's a different world. I
Exactly.
can imagine, especially with everything going on, the things you hear with the media. And it's weird because it is a time that we haven't seen. It's like rates came up so fast, right? And you would think that has to trim down values. And I haven't seen that. Maybe in parts of the
No,
country.
houses are moving.
Values have came down, I'm sure, in some places, but the house that I bought, where I lived with my family in East Meadow 3-4 years ago, where I thought was the top of the market, has gone up significantly. And I thought I was buying high. Like, fuck, I shouldn't be doing this. Every dollar I put into the property, I'm never going to get back, which I didn't care.
Where
then.
did you buy a house?
So my first house I bought was in East Meadow.
Nice.
It was newly renovated because I was having a kid. I didn't want to go through construction, or I never would have done that because that's how you pay. Too much, obviously, but it was newly renovated. I paid like $850 for the house. I ended up putting whatever $100,000 into it, between the outside, the backyard, the whole thing to make it, nice for my family. And values kept going up. Now there's homes in East Meadow selling for $1.5 million, 1.3, 1.4, and I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah. You sold that house?
No, I have it still.
Nice. Do you live
You
there?
can't sell a house with a 3% mortgage. I realize that. So my daughter and her mother live there, and as long as they're happy, I'm happy. So, like I said, with a house with a 2.5-3% debt on it, how could you get rid of it?
A home run.
You sell that house and you buy a condo for $500,000 with a 7-8% mortgage, you're going to pay more than you do living in a $1 million and change house. So why? It just doesn't make financial sense or sense. From my daughter's aspect, I want her to grow up in a nice home. So
Yeah. You have a different obligation.
Yeah,
If you
it's-
didn't have to
right.
support your ex
would I get rid of it?
daughter,
Possibly.
you can
Or-
move in and buy something like a
Right.
a 4-family.
It'd be nice to have the capital back from that house, obviously, but it is what it is. I can't even think about it. So
Yeah.
as long as they're happy, but I know
Did you do the FHA stuff, like 95%?
it's so funny you say that because I feel like now on social media they talk about all this house hacking stuff that even me being in the business, when I got in the business in 2000 and I don't know 14 or 15, whatever it was, that was never a thing. There was no social media. There was no people saying put 3.5% down on a 4-unit, live in one, 12 months later, sell that, do it again, and that was not out there. Even though like we had the products, we're giving you the loans, it was something that wasn't in our brain, for whatever reason. So it took me up until probably 2019 to realize like, holy shit, I'm making too much money, and what the fuck am I doing?
I want to make too much money.
Not too much money to have.
I want to make too much money.
At a young
How do I
age.
make this much?
We'll
I
get-
want to
we'll-
wear a
we'll
nice
get-
suit. No, I'm just playing with you.
I'm
Can we
dressed
turn
down.
that off?
I'm dressed down. I know you're very humble, which I am as well, and I respect that. So I dressed down today. No jewelry. I'm trying to the last 6
Oh,
months.
nice. You did that because I was
Not
coming
because
on?
of you. So I told them actually over the last year or so, I feel like people are struggling, right? And I try to be as real as you can be. When people are struggling, you don't want to rub things in people's faces.
Yeah.
We all know that we're going to be successful no matter what the market is. Are we going to go through challenges? Of course we are. But when you flaunt things, whether it's houses, cars, jewelry, money, I'm closing 50 deals, I feel like people that are going through a challenging time might take things the wrong way. So I just, for myself, I never want to rub somebody the wrong way. So the last year or so, I've cut back and I've realized that life's not just about items that you have, no matter how much money you make. Life's about experiences, good people, obviously being successful. And that's something that I've learned, over the last year or two, that you don't have to flaunt everything. And I love nice cars and the jewelry, wearing nice stuff and going travel, vacations. I love all that stuff, but showing it a certain way, I feel like, especially when things are challenging for people. I would never want to insult somebody or rub somebody the wrong way. So
A lot of time that comes with age or
it comes
experience.
with age and experience.
Yeah, like I've
100%.
already experienced this. It's not what I need.
It's not what you need.
I'm all right.
That's amazing.
Can I get that? Can we turn that off?
It's a little cold in here now, right?
Freezing.
That's how I
Pointed
normally.
directly at me.
It's experience, like you said, and
When I was a kid, I used to have this e-commerce business, and I was drop shipping furniture across the country, and I did pretty well. I bought an M6.
oh, so you went through it.
I went through it
like
when
hearing
I was 15 to 17.
Good.
I bought an M6. I spent money on my girlfriend at the time, and I didn't know anything about investing at the time other than the business I was in.
Right.
I was oblivious to it. When I hit 18, I was like, yeah, I don't really like this stuff. Like, I'm not a BMW crazy partier guy. I like to go out. I still
course.
love going out.
Yeah, travel. Forget it. I
A
love
lot
it.
of people are like, oh, the going out stuff, not me. I'm like, yeah, totally me. I love going out.
I love having a good time, and
Yeah.
I always will. My father
Exactly.
goes out with the friends till 65. I'll always be that guy.
There's
in the
nothing
restaurant.
wrong with it. Like,
No.
yeah, it's cool. It's nice on social media to be like, I'm a homebody, or like to hear that. It's like, no, I like to do things.
No one's a homebody nowadays. Don't let them fool you.
I don't disagree with that. Like, you are right. I like to be out. I'm a late guy. I like to be up late. Do I have a balance?
Brain's going.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, of course. Like, I will still get up early and rip through the day. But I got that out of my system when I was young. Like, by 18, I didn't want anything. So, no watches, no jewelry, no nice cars, no crazy houses, none of that. I'm getting a little bit older now. I'm 27. I'm like, you know what? I can buy a house now for myself.
Yeah.
I could switch my car. I've had the same truck, same model since 2014.
Wow.
So people, my friends,
They're confused.
yeah, they're like, bro, just get the new Range Rover, get this. I'm like, I have a Ford. It's a F-150 Raptor. I like my truck.
That's a beautiful truck.
Yeah, it's great. It's been great to me since the day I bought it. I bought the 2014, sold it in 2018 for $3,000 more than I paid for it. It's like, what's better than
Everything
that?
this guy touches makes money.
Some people said that to me before, and I was like, it's not necessarily true to the
A
fullest.
car, you don't make money on a car after you drive it. I've never heard of that. I bought 50 cars, and you lose money every time.
Yeah,
But not you.
I got the new Raptor, that 2018 Raptor. I'm probably
sweet
going to
truck.
trade it in for another pickup, and that one I'm going to lose on, but nominal. Like, you're talking 2014 to 2023, I might be down $30,000.
That's what I've realized. You got to cut those losses. I bought so many fucking things from
It's not a loss. It's a cost of doing business.
cost doing business.
know,
I'm saying
Cost
like
of life.
for me, cost of life. And you can't look back, and I'll never dwell on anything that happened in the past, because if you sit there and dwell, you'll set yourself so far backwards, and you'll never get to where you need to be. And I could look back at from 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, all the financial mistakes that I've made and still continue to make, maybe not at that level, because I've realized, like, holy shit, certain things you can't do. But if I go back to then and put the money in the right place, we could all say we could have, should have done something different, but you have to realize that at some point. Some people don't. I know people that are 30, 40, forget 30, 40, 50 years old, still in my business or in real estate that are, yeah, they make a lot of money. They make $1 million a year, but they have zero. They have zero. And I
Well,
said,
$1 million's not that much.
it's not anymore.
When you
Not anymore.
get into business, you realize it's really not that much money. You make $1 million a year. You're paying taxes on it.
Correct.
You live in New York. You're getting whacked.
So you're taking home $450 after taxes, and then
Yeah.
after, forget your family, your child.
450 to 600 with deductions. Then you have a life,
It's amazing.
and the life's a normal life, even with or without a family in Long Island, costs probably 15 to 25 a month.
You have a $5,000 mortgage payment. That means your first $9,000 before taxes pays one bill. So you have to make $80,000 a year to pay for one mortgage.
Yep.
The median income in New York is how much? 90,000. Whatever it is. So
I have
it's-
no idea.
It's amazing
Right now.
to see how people do it, and that's why people aren't doing it. That's why something has to change,
Yeah.
in the world.
And
'cause-
if you're not allocating money correctly, you have 200 at the end of the year. You're spending it on something.
right,
Most likely, that's what a lot of
child
people do.
care, school, whatever it is.
Cars, vacations, family, like
And that's what the people do.
giving
Yeah.
money to your family. That's what people do. So $1 million's not as much as it used to be.
People used to respect 100,000 a year going back 10 years ago. When I started in business, I remember people saying, you make 10,000, not me, you can make $10,000 a month, you make $100,000 a year. Like, that's like the goal. Like that was the goal back then. And it's amazing how fast life has changed, and now you make a few $100,000 a year. You can't even support your family and pay your bills and save money.
Unless you live in Puerto Rico or a different state that's more tax friendly, then
More
it's like a little
tax-friendly.
better.
Yeah.
And the cost of living is substantially less. But New York is brutal.
I know a lot of people that have moved out to Puerto Rico and actually have headquartered their business out there because of all those tax breaks.
Yeah, I have
and
one
advantages.
friend that he used to. I have one good friend. I'm not going to name drop him because he'd be very upset.
Yeah, don't do that.
He's a very quiet guy. He's almost 40 years old. He used to build websites and whatever software on the blockchain back in 2013.
Wow.
and then everybody used to pay him in China. Like, it was all clients from China, and they used to pay him only in Bitcoin.
Oh, so
And
forget it.
in 2017, he sold more Bitcoin than I've ever seen or anybody I know has ever seen. 2017, not the 2020 boom. 2017, he sold so much Bitcoin. He moved to Puerto Rico from New York, and he's headquartered there. Sold everything, and no business anymore, nothing. He's just a happy retired guy since he's been. I mean, now it's going back 6 years since he's been 33.
Yeah,
He's been retired.
that's amazing. He did it the right way. I feel like people are trying to do it the wrong way, just putting their business out there. You can't do that. You have to actually live in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I know. You
don't
gotta
what-
live there.
I
I
don't
mean,
know what
that's-
these people think nowadays. So that's amazing to see somebody, that actually.
But he hit it, to
Yeah, of course.
on Bitcoin like that. That's unique.
That's amazing. There's so many stories, even like people I know personally, that we could all say we had it back at this time, and if I still had it, yeah, like I know people we actually had it. Like it's amazing that how much something like that. Like what do you think about crypto? That wasn't something I planned on talking about. Do you like?
I'm not in
you
the
like crypto?
space.
No?
Not really.
Yeah, me
I
neither,
have
yeah.
some stuff. It's just sitting there. I
I have a little bit in case something pops, but I don't like focus on it.
I lost a lot of money in that
So did,
stuff.
so did I.
I used to sell furniture online, like I said back in the day. And one of the things I did was I would sell on eBay and whatever. And somebody reached out to me on eBay. They're like, "Hey, listen, I can pay you in Bitcoin." I was like, "What is this Bitcoin?" I was probably 14 years old at the time, give or take. No, I was 16 years old at the time. I'm talking early Bitcoin days.
Yeah, yeah.
This is 2013.
That's like right when.
Yeah. They offered me 47 Bitcoin for a
Oh.
$350 desk back then.
47.
I was like, all right, you know what? It's a lot of money for me, the $350. I think I was making like $70 on the desk, so it cost me $280. I was like, I'll do it. And I went through the whole process. You had to get the thumb drive, you have to get all these things. I was calling around, figuring out how to do it. I got towards the end, and this guy, so I don't listen to people. Big reason I don't listen to people. This guy, he goes, "Listen, kid, a lot of fraud goes on with Bitcoin. You could get in trouble. They could rob you. They could hack into your bank account." I'm like, hack into my bank account? I have $40,000
Back then,
in my
right?
bank account. Yeah, I was like, if they hack into my bank account, I won't have any money. And I am so oblivious
Yeah.
back then. I just didn't get it. That's why when I speak to people today, I get it. Like they just don't get
Right.
certain things, economic things or business things. So that's how I was. I was a kid. And I set up everything, and I didn't take the guy's Bitcoin. Until this day, it's like, shit, that was my Bitcoin
Do the
story.
math.
47
47
times
Bitcoins
whatever,
times-
30,000, almost say
Nice payday.
1.5 million
That would have been a nice payday.
in Bitcoin. It would have been nice, but it didn't
Properties,
happen.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, I would have probably moved it all and bought a ton of properties. But anyway, I can't even think that far ahead, because what if it boomed? What if it jumped to $1,500? I probably would have sold it all.
Correct.
I don't know. I was a kid.
I have a story from literally a year ago. I bought a cryptocurrency. It was called, I forget the name of it, but I put $1,000 into it. My father put 2,000 or 3,000 into it. It went up to 100 and something thousand within a week.
Wow.
We didn't sell it. This is a true story. You could ask my off. We didn't sell it, and we just started to watch it go down. And to make a long story short, it went down to like nothing, zero, and we just never sold it.
No.
Yeah, and my father comes from a financial background. He's a financial advisor, not a mortgage guy. Now he's in the mortgage industry because that business coincides with what he does, and he's amazing at all avenues of the financial space. But he's like, that was 5,600% on my money. As a financial planner, you try to make your clients 7, 8, 10% on their money every year. I hit a stock 5,600%,
And I didn't sell.
and we didn't fucking sell it, and it's amazing how life happens so fast. It was my money too, and we had 2 separate accounts, and we didn't fucking sell it.
You get
It is what
caught
it
up
is.
in
You
that.
get caught up.
It's-
We thought that was it. We thought that was the one that was going to, like Shiba Inu popped that time. We thought that was it. We were gonna have millions and never work again off of crypto. This was last year. So
Crazy.
stupid.
Yeah.
As we're making tons of money during COVID, whatever it was, and then we just didn't focus on it.
Meanwhile, I have friends that did calls, option calls, and they made like
talk about
$10 million.
I got
like that.
destroyed on options.
Did it? Me too.
Yeah, because you
but
can't
that's not
focus
me.
on it. Yeah, it's not you.
It's not me. I got in. I realized it's going to take some of my time. I'm like, you know what? I'll rip the Band-Aid off. I don't even want it. Let me just move on back to real estate, what I specialize in. Real estate, private equity style deals. That's what I'm going to focus on, and that's what I did. And then I took my portfolio from like 30 mil to like 100 mil. And I was like, this is mine. This is what I'm focusing on. This is my specialty.
Yeah, I didn't want to really. I don't want to really get into how you start. I know you started with one house, right? And then that just kind of set you off. To
Yeah,
now
one house snowballed into five snowballed into like 60, and raising money and all that good stuff. I mean, I've talked about that a billion times,
yeah,
like we
of
talked
course.
about. But I love.
And you travel a lot too. I know.
Now
Do
I
you travel
travel.
because of the real estate though? Are you traveling to find opportunities to buy real estate, or you enjoy traveling?
Nah. I like to do business everywhere I go,
Cool.
but I just want to see the world now. I didn't travel as a kid. I never traveled. A lot of kids, their parents like take them places.
I had the
and they
Disney
do
trip. My
things.
mother's side every year was the Disney World.
That's
trip, which-
awesome.
It's amazing. It is.
My parents didn't go anywhere until we took them to Cuba
That's amazing.
with us, me, my brother, and my sister. So we didn't go anywhere. So I was just a Long Island kid. My parents met in Israel.
Okay.
My mother gave birth to me in England.
Wow.
Then they moved to America, and
So you were born in England.
I was born in the UK.
Wow.
And then we lived in America and didn't go anywhere for like 20 years.
Wow.
So I was like, all right, I don't like spending on nice things and fancy stuff. It's not me. I'd rather donate or do something with it, but I do like traveling. I like seeing new things and
Experiences.
understanding how economies work. I fell in love with like how things work.
Yeah, of course.
So I'll hop on a plane and I'll go to like Croatia.
I'm the same way, and I'll go by myself. And when you see other places, how they operate and how they work, their economy, it's amazing. I'm sure you've gone a ton of places I see online, but it's really amazing to see how different places work.
I think that's the freedom.
We
like
are.
that's awesome. I don't have kids yet.
That's freedom. You're
Yeah,
right.
I don't have kids yet. I do have a new girlfriend who I think I'm gonna end up marrying this girl.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
That's a
that was
clip.
that was a big one. I think I'm gonna end up marrying this girl. She's awesome. Such a good, a great person. Just down to earth, great person. So I don't know how it's going to look.
I was
when
going to
have
ask you that
kids.
about business, kind of. Like, were you single for a long time?
Not a long time. I was in a 3.5-year
You were.
relationship.
Do you think, because I feel like this is a topic that people bring up, do you think being single or being in a relationship helps you get so far so fast in business, or does
It's
it hold
the
you back?
contrary for me. When I get out of a relationship, I'm working 24/7. I'm ripping. I'm doing very well. I'm growing fast. When I'm in a relationship, it scales back a little bit. I don't think it has anything to do with the woman because I pick my direction.
Correct.
So if my woman, if my wife, my girlfriend, my fiance, whatever holds me back, she's out. I'm not holding on. I don't hold on to things. Like I don't try and grasp something and be like, no, please, That's not
You have
me.
your vision's bulletproof, and that's not
it.
changing.
I don't care how beautiful she is, how kind she is, how smart she is, how much money she has. I want to be the best version of myself, and if somebody changes that, whether I have 10 kids or not, you're out. This woman, I think, is the right one. This one, she understands what I do. She's happy with it. She's more religious than I am, and because of that, there comes these things with religion that's like really nice. I'm not looking at the dark side. I'm looking at the nice side, like treat your man well, and
Of course.
there's so many funny things
Listen,
that,
I believe in old school traditional, relationships and values and morals.
and so does she, and that's why
amazing.
I'm like, wow, this girl is special to me. That's how I grew up as well. It's all about respect.
Of course,
In my house,
all about respect.
yeah, we had
I heard
no
that word
money.
how many times a day if I heard the word respect
Yeah.
growing up in my house.
We grew up with no money in my house. And if you looked at my dad the wrong way, you have a problem. So that respect has lasted till this day.
That's amazing, though.
Like I still look at dad. I call him Abba, dad, or daddy. I love him to death. I give him a kiss every time I see him, when I walk in, when I walk out. Same with my mom. It's just like pure respect. Like I see kids and they they'll say shut up to their
The
parents.
level of disrespect to their parents.
Yeah,
Nowadays.
I want to smack them.
It's absurd.
People, will you smack your kid? If my kid tells me to shut up, he's getting slapped.
Yeah, that's
She's
just-
getting slapped. It is what it is.
It's absurd the way people speak to their parents.
Have some
nowadays,
respect.
like their friends.
Yeah, and hopefully that's the only time you have to smack your kid, and then
Yeah.
forever they're going to be respectful. Because it really sometimes takes one instance to set somebody on the right course. It's true. Sure, I used to be very disrespectful to everybody other than my family when I was a kid. That got out of my system because my
It's amazing to admit that because most people wouldn't admit that.
open book, baby.
Open book.
Nothing to hide. I just said I'd smack my kid on camera.
How much do you make?
Yeah, exactly.
See, that's
I was very disrespectful because I was making money and I was a kid and I didn't come from money. So when I was making this money, I bought myself a nice car. I'd go to school, I won the nicest car award, all this stuff. And I'd pull up to school and my teacher would be like, Alon, go do this. I'd be like, you can't tell me what to do. I make more money than you. And that was wrong. I should have never acted that way.
Yeah.
Looking back, I understand that. It didn't trail into my now present time. I would never say something like that. Actually, I don't look at people based on what they make whatsoever. I look at them from what I can learn from them. That's how I look at people most of the time. What can I learn from this person? What information can I extract from you that will help me be a better person, live a better life, build a better future for the people and community around me? And that's how I look at people now. Nothing to do with money. But I was a kid. And it's disappointing to see people that are 30 that act like that because they're just starting to make money.
It's amazing.
But I was a kid, and I
an
would tell
excuse.
my teacher, I still remember it was my math teacher, super sweet lady. Like, she was sweet, but a
I
little...
make more money than you. You can't tell me what to do.
Yeah. I was like, that's what I said to her.
fucking hysterical, bro.
And she's like, she actually flipped out, is what she did. And she sent me down to the principal's office. And I was like, she can't tell me what to do. and I was like standing my ground. I'm like, you guys can't tell me what to do. You don't pay my bills. And that's what my dad used to say to me. He'd be like,
You just copy what your phone.
who pays my electric bill? You? You're gonna tell me? You know, it would be like acting like Italian.
Yeah.
But so I was acting like that in school sometimes. And he didn't say it disrespectfully. He'd just be like, I'm the adult.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, now I'm an adult, and it was wrong. And my mom would always get calls on it.
Yeah.
My mom's like a British respect woman, like she would teach us how to eat at the table, how to have manners.
Like how you dare talk to somebody that way.
Exactly. And nothing to do with money.
Right.
Like even when we had no money at all, it's like, this is how you sit at a table. This is how you speak to people.
Right.
You ask
I
questions.
couldn't
You-
have my elbow on the table at my finger.
yeah,
My
me
elbow
too.
wasn't allowed.
Elbows off the table. Now, I mean, it's a little
Now it's
different.
different,
But so I said this to the math teacher, whatever, and my mom asked our neighbor for help. He had a friend who was like this old-fashioned football player. He's like a pro football player, and he was also a math tutor. And he's like, I'll whip this kid into shape. And he came down, and he's like, if you do good, I'll buy you McDonald's. And I keep kosher, so I only got French fries. And he's like, I'll get you French fries at McDonald's. I was like, I don't need your money, but he's like, listen, kid, it's a respect thing. He's a
course.
grown man. He would be tough love with me, and we built this friendship. His name was Joe Tutz, and I loved him. He was an awesome guy. My father was too busy working. He was very busy with work, and I always admired that about him. So I worked hard as well throughout my life.
it's amazing.
But that respect to translate back to school, I did. It put me into shape. Then I got into wrestling.
Did you go to college?
I went to Hofstra.
You went to Hofstra.
Yeah, I graduated early from Hofstra. I did
Awesome.
very well there.
Awesome.
And the wrestling is extremely humbling.
I loved wrestling. I was 103.
Nice.
My
You're
favorite weight
lightweight.
class. Yeah, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I stopped at 9th because I was trying to play baseball before I hurt my arm. But yeah, I was a lightweight. 103.
Combat sports are so humbling.
Yeah.
And I love that about those kinds of sports, and that helped build who I am today. But I did it with my own twist. I would leave wrestling, I'd go to work.
Yeah.
That's why I wasn't the best ever, because I would work in my
You
off
learn.
hours.
That's young, man, to learn work. To
Yeah.
start having that, you had that mindset in you said 8th grade. You were telling people I make more than you.
Yeah.
That's amazing. In 8th grade. So you can't look at that the wrong way. Even though the teacher has to do what they have to do, and like you're not supposed to do that. For somebody to speak that way and have that mindset and have that in you, just that's why you're at where you're at now.
Yep. Listen, don't get me wrong.
You know.
Most teachers, even in college, are extremely small-minded. With all due respect to the staff, the teachers, everything, and if this does relate to them, they need to work on themselves. They're very small-minded. If you're taking offense to a kid telling you, I make more than you, then you need to look within and see what's wrong with me. Like, why is that bothering me? Why is that hurting me? Because you could tell me anything, Dean. You could literally say anything to me, and it'll just roll off my shoulder. Like, it won't even bother me at all. There's so many people in life that are just going to come at you from every angle. You have an opinion. You do, and you have a different one, right? People were telling me, don't get into Bitcoin. People are telling me you're over leveraging. People are telling me 14% is crazy. You shouldn't even get into business. This bank is better than that bank. You shouldn't go to this school. You should go to that school. Wrestling is better than boxing, this and that, and just everybody's opinion. It just comes from a million angles. You got to give everybody the finger kindly, right? You deliver it with kid gloves, as they say. You deliver it kindly, like, listen, I respect your opinion. Thank you. And then you do what you want. You take it in. You show respect because you want people to still like you. It's just natural respect, right? Like, if I tell you to go F yourself, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I don't really know if I like that guy. If I tell you I appreciate your opinion and then I do what I want,
Right.
You're going to like me. I'm going to do what I want anyway. That's why things just got to roll off. You can't hurt me with words,
100%. No, that's amazing. And I've even learned, and I'm open to always admitting when I grow, when I learn, and I've become comfortable with that even the last couple of years. You have to be that way. If you take things personal and you wear your heart on your sleeve, which I do myself, and I'm the first to admit it, because you care. For me, it's out of caring about people. I can't stand to see someone not successful that works for me, or whatever it is. If I recommend somebody and that person does the wrong job, or whatever the case may be, I've always worn my heart on my sleeve. But learning as you get older and in business, not to take things personal, and life is going to be life. Things are going to happen that you can't control. I think that's when you finally realize, like, holy shit, I feel better within myself now, because if you have to live every day worried about, X, Y, and Z, you're never going to be able to go forward.
Yeah, and money comes and goes. I had a great life without money.
Money comes and goes.
I have a great life when I'm doing pretty well as well, but I have friends that make crazy money.
Yeah.
I have friends that bring in $20 million a year net, and they're just the coolest guys in the world. Like you would never know, and they're just awesome.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to be like. I want to do even better than that, and I just want to be the coolest guy. I want to have these conversations. I want to hang around people and talk about whatever I like or want to learn about, and everyone be like, that was a cool guy.
Definitely.
Whether you make a fortune or not, it shouldn't define like who you are.
That's what I love about this, because it kind of shows people. And when I started getting more into the media, I had a mortgage mindset series, and I feel like people know Dean is a mortgage person already. They know I do real estate. They know I'm the best at what I do. But how do they learn more about myself and who I am as a person? And that's why I decided to start this After Hours podcast, because it's nice to bring people on, and actually speak with people that, whether it's business or life or whatever, relating to a certain topic or personal development, it's amazing to show the world that. And I think it's so important, nowadays, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Something else I wanted to ask you real quick is there anything, like, going back 5 or 6 years, would you change anything? I know you love what you do. Would you change anything in business? Is there something that you would have done differently?
Yeah, 100%.
There is.
100%. If I could go back, I would just go bigger.
Go bigger, quicker.
Bigger. Just way, way bigger. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Now that I see myself, I was building something.
And you
And-
realize, like, holy shit, this is what I could do? Why didn't I do it?
Yeah. I always knew I could do
That's how I
anything
feel.
I wanted. I was like, I'm going to be the biggest. I can do anything I want. Once you actually do well, you're like, is this really what I want? Like, is that next step what I want? You don't know. You reevaluate. But if I could go back, I just go way bigger because bigger is more impactful. Scale brings impact, and I care way more about impact than I do about short-term gains or the way the public looks at me.
Right.
It's not what I care about. I care about impact, and that's what I want to be known for one day. Like when I go, like what an impactful person, whatever it was, Jewish causes, business, helping people in anything around the world, whatever it is, impact.
Philanthropy. That's what a lot of people, I feel like, once they realize, they've figured it out enough to where they can live comfortably and they have that financial freedom, I feel like a lot of people gear towards, how can I now give back, and, whether it's the community or the world or whatever it is.
I love giving. I love learning about businesses and executing. I like doing deals. Doing deals is probably the most fun part of what I do, whether it's bringing on new investors, negotiating on deals, or buying properties or businesses. So I see that as my future. Like, I'm going to do more deals and have fun doing it, and I'm going to give back because the money will come in and it goes wherever. I probably, with time, I'm going to set something up for my girlfriend and my mom and help like the autism, Down syndrome community, because that's what they both like to help.
It's amazing.
And I don't have the time to allocate to helping those people hands-on, but they do, and God bless them. So I hope they're going to be my philanthropy arm one day.
Yeah.
And I could just pump it with money to help those people.
Giving back's amazing. Even like right now is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and my mother, when I was in high school, went through breast cancer. At the same time, my grandmother went through breast
No way.
cancer. Yeah. it
Same
was
time?
At the same time. My mother found out, I think I was a senior in high school. My mother found out she had breast cancer, and then I found out it had to be like a month later, that my grandmother just went to get checked because my mother got diagnosed. She went to get checked, and they were like, holy shit, you have it also. So that I was a little younger, even though we were 17, 18, so I didn't really, I don't know if it's...
How are they doing now? They're both alive?
They're good. Yeah, they're both alive.
Did you
clean.
check for breast cancer?
No, and it's, I don't know if that's
Your chest is too small. That's
Come
why.
on, man. Give me another couple weeks. I'm 4 weeks in the gym,
I
so
was messing
by
with you.
week 7 or 8, you see a little more chest. But no, it's. They say that, I don't know if it's a male or woman thing, but they say, like my sister, like you're supposed to go get checked, obviously. But that's so common, I know, in women, nowadays. But just going back to the whole giving back thing, too, there's a reason why people do what they do, and I try to give back as much as I can, and whether it's charities and bringing people into the events that I throw, and giving a portion of all that money back to a great cause, I try to be involved as much as I can. And the more I scale my life as well, is the more I'll do, and try
Good
to give
guy,
back.
good looking, makes a ton of money. We gotta get this guy married ASAP. You got any girls for him?
One of these days, I got to go back to being traditional.
Yeah.
It's always a dream of mine. So.
We need a nice Italian Greek girl for you that's
Italian and Greek.
doesn't have social
I
media.
still think we got a couple of years.
The Greeks are a little
of
little
travel,
crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Before we get settled down, I think we gotta. This is
You know, when I got this new girlfriend, or whenever I date a new girl, I'm like, I travel a lot.
I will
So-
learn to set expectations.
Yeah.
In my life.
That's
going
it.
forward.
Got so
Do we have?
serious.
Do we have any more camera? Are we good?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want
Cool.
to keep rolling.
I'll learn. I got to learn to set expectations going forward in life. Whether it's,
Yep.
I always set expectations. With referral put in business, but in life you have to set expectations for people. As a person, right? If you know that your life is a certain way or whatever it is, you can't just.
I mean, I set like an umbrella expectation.
That's
Like,
good.
This is who I am.
Good.
You're not going to be accustomed to it. No matter where you come from, you're not. And because of that, things are just gonna roll. And you gotta roll with the punches, or you gotta sit back and let me do my thing. Otherwise, this is never going to work. And some women accept that, and some women can't. They just can't. Their upbringing wasn't there. And you gotta cut your losses fast, like that. So when I realized that with certain relationships, I was out, done, next, move on. I have to keep moving. This current girl is awesome. She accepts it. She understands it. So we're good, and then everything else comes together from there.
No, that's amazing. Yeah, like I said, setting expectations is something that as I grow older, I will learn to do better, and then eventually that should lead to something special.
And there's nothing wrong with being spontaneous.
I'm always spontaneous, whether it's business,
You
like
know?
last week. I had a wake to go to in Florida, but there was an opportunity down south, and this happens to me all the time. I'll have an investor call me, Dean, it's Tuesday. You know, you have to come here on Wednesday. I'm out. I'm going. You know, it's
Well, you
life.
called me.
Yeah, I
You
called.
told me I'm going to Florida. I'm like, go.
Yeah,
Make it
you-
happen.
You have to. You have to. And that's happened so many
Did you
times.
do that
where
deal?
There's an opportunity that I have people building down there that, you know, we could discuss. You know, there's always something where if you don't just do it then, forget the opportunity. It doesn't always pan out the right way. There's been so many times where I've traveled somewhere across the country or whatever it is, and you get there and you think it's an opportunity. You look at the property or you speak to the person about the deal, and it's not what it is. You know, but that's just how I operate. You have to operate that way. I know you operate that way. If you don't take action, you know, where's the reward going to come from? You know, if you don't take action. So, you know, where do you? I know we'll finish up. You know, we've been sitting here for a while, and I appreciate you, you know, sharing all this stuff. And it's amazing to actually, like I said, reconnect. Like I said in the beginning, you know, with somebody.
15
who,
years later.
15 years later, man, it's amazing. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Is there a goal? 5 years, 10 years? Like, just keep doing your thing.
Only
or-
God knows. I want to have a
knows.
lot of kids. I want to have like 10 kids.
That's awesome.
So hopefully in the
10
next,
kids.
yeah. Hopefully by the time I'm
Beautiful.
40, I have 10 kids.
That's beautiful.
I mean, even if I have like 6 or 7, then I'll adopt another 3. Like I want 10 kids.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Most people don't think that way or would feel that way, especially our age. So
Yeah. I want a big family, you know, like something awesome. Like I want a school bus to travel around with my family. It's that time of life. I go all in on everything I do, and I think kids are wonderful and they bring new life and bring them up in the right way, like there's no right way, but like with the right traditions and values and respect. I think that would be cool, and it would be a testament to my future.
that's amazing. And listen, I truly hope there's more people our age like yourself, you know, that understand that those old school qualities that you need to have, morals, values, being traditional, you know, I hope that continues to, you know, come through the next generations to come, because I feel like this world has been so fucked up these last couple of years.
That's why I have a problem with that guy that
Yeah.
we won't name, but like we shook hands.
Yeah.
We made a deal. You know, don't play with me on my deals.
I 1,000,000%.
I like to do. I'll shake hands. My attorneys tell
And
me
I'm that way too. You're not supposed to
ridiculous.
shake hands nowadays because you're supposed to put things on paper. But I feel like, right, if you come to me and say, Dean, we're going to do a deal, and I shake your hand, or if I don't shake your hand and say, no, put it on paper, right away by me saying, put it on paper, that's me not trusting you. You know, so if we have a relationship and there's expectations, I feel like, why should we have to do that?
100%. I just told somebody very close to me, we just did something. It was worth about $700,000. And I said, yo, just text me what we just agreed on. I'll confirm it via text because I'm going to forget.
Right.
And if you want to draft something up, draft it up. And they were a little uncomfortable. And he's like, you know what? Fine. He texted it to me. I thumbs up on the text. That was it. 3 months later, we go back to this deal. The deal is about done. Equity's being allocated, whatever. And he's like, hey, this is what we discussed. That's not what's on the paper. And I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, no, we did. And then, you know, some words like, oh my God, is he trying to screw you or trying to screw him? I'm like, honestly, I just don't remember. Like, somebody show it to me so I can remember. He got a screenshot of the text, showed it to me, signed it right there. It's yours. We made that deal. We're good. It was a handshake deal. But now I remember, like, now I tell people, I forget things because I have so many things going on. Just text it to me. It doesn't need to be crazy formal.
As long as you said it or I said it, we're on the same page. I'm the same.
Exactly. So that's what happened. And you were talking here $700,000. You know, I've been burned by my best friend from those crazy donkey days for $30,000. He burned me. He burned an 11-year friendship on $30,000. I've been burned. I just got burned on $8,000. I'm like, how short-sighted are you? You know, I roll with such serious, you know, equity and deals now, and I'm getting so much bigger, so much faster, and to do something so silly over $8,000, $30,000, even $150,000, like that person, $150,000. You know how much business he lost from me?
Yep.
Because I like these people.
Yep.
I like you. I like a
Yep.
couple more people.
Yep.
I probably lost way more than $150,000. But that's
That's how life works.
That's
though.
the difference,
That's how life
yeah.
works.
yeah.
That's how life works.
You stand by your word.
Always.
I mean, I'll end a friendship if somebody will break their word.
That's happened to me in my life, and you know, there's certain things you can forgive and not forget, you know, but there's also certain things in life that, like, I can't be around those people.
100%.
because it kind of rubs
Now
off.
you don't respect them anymore.
Nah, and
I tell people
and I'm the
to.
same way. When I don't respect somebody because they disrespected me first, I get challenging. So
I agree.
that's just
This was
how
awesome.
life works. So
Thanks for having me
I
on.
appreciate it, brother. This was awesome. We'll definitely do it again in the future.
Hell yeah.
Yo.